Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dakota Fundraising News Podcast. Konch, I'm pumped to be here with you. Today is Wednesday, October 9th for all of our listeners. If you're listening on Spotify, great. We're very pumped to be back in the studio with Roberto behind the aux here. Aux probably not the right word.
Behind the camera.
Behind the camera, which is a lot of fun. Big personal news I want to call out. Just got tickets to see Oasis in Mexico City for their reunion tour. They haven't played in North America since 2008.
Maybe we should hold an event there next year.
Mexico City Dakota Cocktails, we certainly should. There's 35,000 people in line in front of me to get tickets to Oasis. Actually today, Wednesday the 9th, we have 300 people registered for our event in London. So if Oasis can get 35,000 in Mexico City and we can get 300 in London, feels like we can probably get a good turnout in Mexico City too. So maybe you'll see that coming next year. For what it's worth, the concert's in September of next year, so keep your eye out.
Yeah, super dope. I know the other day you were waiting in that queue forever. But yeah, let's jump into the agenda. We typically go over an article of interest here. What have we seen lately, Pat?
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about some exciting news coming out of Boston. We were actually just there for Dakota Cocktails as well last week. Fidelity Investments. Everyone's familiar with Fidelity, all of our listeners certainly, and indeed people who aren't listening to this podcast are also very familiar. There's such a household name. But what you don't think about with Fidelity is alts. You don't typically think of Fidelity as an alternatives leader, but looks like that's something they're trying to change. We just saw Fidelity launch their first ever venture fund, and then as of September 30th, they had raised $250 million for that fund. They've already made 10 investments across, frankly, the industries you'd expect: AI, aerospace, technology, all of that good stuff. But it's always exciting to see, a firm like that, such a large firm, been around for so long, make a notable change. I think in the job changes segment, you'll talk about a notable change happening at Charles Schwab. But yeah, why don't we just slide over to that section then?
Yeah, speaking of Charles Schwab, Walter Bettinger, they've announced his retirement. He'll be stepping down as the CEO. Rick Wurster has been announced as his successor. He spent the past 9 years as the president. I know we've seen some other job changes too, Pat. How about Citi Wealth? What's going on there?
Yeah, Fidelity, Schwab, Citi, a ton of exciting things happening from these marquee names that have been around for so long. Citi Wealth, though, has hired a new head of global investments. That's Keith Glenfield. He spent nearly 30 years actually at Merrill Lynch. That was where he was their head of investment products. He also led the entire Northeast division, which no doubt Merrill Lynch, the Northeast division, is a pretty important role that he was running. So exciting to see him transition after, what's already been an illustrious career to now what is sure to be a great second act at Citi Wealth. Let's go across the pond, though. What's going on with Tim at Border to Coast?
Yeah, Border to Coast Pension out in London. Tim Manuel has just been named their head of responsible investments. He's coming over from Aon, where he was the head of responsible investment over there. So a natural move. He'll be succeeding Jane Firth, who has just retired after a 40-year career there. So if you've been in touch with Border to Coast or if you've worked with them in the past, pretty significant change there. Would recommend getting to know Tim Manuel.
Wow, a 40-year career. I'm on year 4 at Dakota. So that's 10x, and it already feels like this is the longest I've ever done anything in my life. So it's very exciting. We'll jump into the RIA moves, though. Just going to get started with Cerity Partners. You hear their name all the time. This isn't going to be anything new, but it is new, right? And it is exciting to keep seeing a firm like that continue to grow. Citi has acquired Denver-based Janiczek Wealth Management. Probably butchering the pronunciation there, but spelled Janiczek. That was based on a October 3rd, just a few days before recording this press release. And really exciting, it puts Cerity at above $100 billion under management. That's going to be, because they're bringing in effectively 1.5 with this new acquisition. All the teams are going to be integrated, operating as Cerity Partners in the Colorado area. We hear about Cerity all the time. We hear about LPL all the time. We'll talk about LPL in a sec, but talk to us about, our boy Sean's hometown. What's going on over there?
Shout out to Sean Dolan out in Minneapolis. We will call out Wealth Enhancement Group's acquisition of a Minneapolis hybrid RIA. They'll be picking up the $2.3 billion FinTrust Capital Advisors. The $2.39 billion is combined in client assets across their 3 teams. So FTCA team in Greenville, South Carolina, Kibler, Blackburn in South Carolina, and then Classic City teams in Athens, Georgia. They're led by Alan Giuseppe, and the team is going to add an additional 14 advisors and 13 client service staff as well. So some pretty significant transactions here, Pat. You just mentioned LPL. I heard they just closed $100 billion with Atria Wealth.
Dude, insane. Yeah, we're talking about LPL all the time. $100 billion close here. And in addition to just the sheer number of assets that is, it's unbelievable. 2,400 advisors from Atria are coming over and will now be operating under the LPL financial platform. It's really exciting. That's going to put LPL at over 23,000 affiliated advisors. I don't have it in front of me, the list of largest broker-dealers out there, but have to imagine that's inching them up and up towards the Morgan Stanleys of the world that are sort of the largest players.
We're at private credit. We've gone over private credit a ton in the past month or so here. What are they looking for? Audio-only listeners. You guys know Pat's favorite segment of the podcast. I'll start us off with a quick update from Massachusetts Water Resources Authority Retirement System. I just refer to them as MWRA because it's such a mouthful to say, but they manage over $700 million in assets leveraging NEPC. They gave us an update on their core bond passive index search. They've selected Rumblind advisors with a $30 million allocation there for domestic core fixed income. Two other finalists for the search included BlackRock and Ramirez Asset Management. Over in Chicago, Cook County, Pat, I know they were looking over at private credit. We've gone over private credit a ton in the past month or so here. What are they looking for?
Yeah, private credit. It's all we ever talk about. Cook County Annuity and Benefit Fund, over $13 billion under management. They're using Callan now as their consultant, obviously the Chicago Metro, like you just mentioned, but they're looking for a $260 million private credit mandate. This is due November 1st. So when you're listening to this, you have a few weeks to go ahead and fill that out. Pretty broad strokes, what they're looking for. So if you're a private credit manager in that sort of range that would typically apply to something like that, go for it. You can find out more information on what they've invested in historically over there in Dakota. The City of Medford County Retirement Board. Talk to me about their EM equity.
Yeah, so a little bit different than all the alts that we usually cover, but they'll be looking to allocate $20 million to emerging markets equities. For this search, they'll be leveraging NEPC. The deadline for this one is on the 18th. So if you're listening to this on the 9th, only like 9 days to follow up on this one. But if you're alerted through Dakota Search Alerts, you can do so on dakota.com, where we send you alerts to these RFPs in real time as we hear about them.
Yeah, and Konch, where is Medford County?
Boston. So we've called out Boston a ton so far. Massachusetts Water. I think we're talking about another Boston pension a little bit later on. Weymouth Retirement System.
Yeah.
What's going on there? They're in Boston too.
Yeah, and we just talked about Fidelity too. It's just everything seems to be happening in the North, I guess, except for the Patriots winning games. But that's neither here nor there. Weymouth Retirement Board is seeking proposals now for U.S. fixed income. So while not private credit, still in the same relative sphere. That is a core plus fixed income mandate, $290 million under management there at the Weymouth Retirement System, and they expect to allocate between 50 and 50 million to this core fixed income mandate. It does have the ability to do core plus, but again, it is intended for core, but we'd encourage, I guess we would not encourage, but they would encourage managers across both asset classes to go ahead and apply.
Yeah, great. Staying on the traditional side here, Oklahoma Police, they're going to be looking to allocate $200 million across international equities, whether it's large cap growth, mid cap growth, SMID cap, so on and so forth. For this search, they're leveraging their consultant asset consulting group. Deadline for this one's on the 30th of this month. Halloween's actually my least favorite holiday of the year. How about you?
It is also my least favorite holiday of the year, but I cannot tell my girlfriend that, and so as such, I will happily be a cowboy or something, which I guess is relevant for this Oklahoma police situation.
Yeah, I don't think people care about what our outfits are going to be, but just real quick on the search, they are preferring firms to have at least $300 million in assets or in an international growth equity strategy, primarily in developed markets. Any more on this search you can find in Dakota Marketplace.
Yeah, that firm would have to be GIPS compliant too, so just something to keep in mind for any firms that have not crossed that box.
I know by the time people are listening on this, you'll be in London, Pat. We've tracked LGPS pretty substantially over the past 12, 24 months here at Dakota Marketplace. Tell me about the recent allocations.
Yeah, one recent allocation comes to mind for LGPS, and that is to PGIM's real estate fund. If you're not familiar, that's a core real estate strategy. They've allocated now 40 million pounds, which is about 53 million US. That conversion really throws me off. I accidentally bought a sweater that is much more expensive than I thought it was, but pumped to wear it. Just forced everyone to know about my Halloween costume, so it's only natural that we talk about the Texas County District Retirement System while I'm in cowboy mode, huh?
Yeah, for sure. So Texas County, they've made a private credit allocation. No surprise there. This one's going to be going to Monarch Capital's Fund 6, $100 million to this allocation here. Talked about Boston a ton already. We'll talk about them again. Boston Retirement System with 3 recent allocations. Pat, please tell us more.
Please, I'm happy to. First, Golden Tree, that's a direct lending strategy that is to the private credit fund, 50 million, so big win there. And then 2 more, both in private credit. Again, not a shock. We're always talking about private credit. 400 Capital, that's a special sits fund, and that was a $10 million allocation to their Fund 4. And then to HarborVest, my buddy Ben works on this team actually, so really exciting just personally to see his team and that team over there continue to grow. But the HarborVest Direct Lending Fund 2, that is naturally a direct lending fund, and that is also a $10 million commitment. Take me to Seattle, Konch. It's a rainy day over there.
Yeah, can't say I've ever been there. Would like to eventually one of these days. But $4 billion retirement system here using NEPC as their consultant. They've also made a, no surprise, private credit allocation. $40 million going to the Arcmont Direct Lending Fund 5. Then we've got one other public plan that we wanted to call out, San Diego County Employees Retirement Association. They've recently had a recommendation from their consultant, Aon or Alborn, I believe. Pat, what's going on over there?
Yeah, I can tell you it's probably not raining is what's going on over there. Would love a breakfast burrito right now too. Sycamore Tree CLO Fund 2 was the recommendation that you were just referring to. That is a private credit fund.
Awesome. Well, Pat, I know you're in London right now, and the future Pat is in London right now.
Future Pat is in London. He's having a pint.
Where is future Pat and future Konch going to be on the 23rd?
On the 23rd, we are here in Philadelphia. We are pumped, finally getting Konch to a Dakota Cocktails. I'm going to try and get you to this Toronto one too.
Yeah, that's one of
November
my favorite
6th.
cities. Great.
Yeah, we're pumped for that one. It's going to be good. Thanks as always, everyone, for listening in. Lots of good stuff today. We will talk to you all soon.
Thank you.
This episode is brought to you by Dakota Marketplace. Are you tired of constantly jumping between multiple databases and channels to find the right investment opportunities? Introducing Dakota Marketplace, the comprehensive institutional and intermediate database built by fundraisers for fundraisers. With Dakota Marketplace, you'll have access to all channels and asset classes in one place, saving you time and streamlining your fundraising process. Say goodbye to the frustration of searching through multiple databases, websites, Form ADVs, and say hello to a seamless and efficient fundraising experience. Sign up now and see the difference Dakota Marketplace can make for you. Visit dakota.com/Dakota-Marketplace today.